Okay, welcome back. Let's see if we can get this finished today. Uh-oh. Okay. We're on week 30. Alright, let's make my computer reset in between playthroughs. Or actually, we're in week 31, technically. Um, Doing pretty good. Got a lot of stuff. This is lying to us a little bit right here. We actually don't need 1,000 troops for the next part of the game. We only need like 300 or something. So we'll have that in 30 weeks without any extra input because we get 10 troops a week. Yes, we were extremely lucky. So just to give a reminder, we were betrayed by our son-in-law, who decided that he wasn't going to send us troops, and we almost died, almost lost our kingdom because of that. Well, allegedly. But we were saved by an avalanche, an act of God, as you would call it. I think this letter in particular is very interesting given what reveals later on in the game. Seems like a nice kid. So this is introducing us to a couple of mechanics for the third act. We'll see exactly what that means when we get to the end of the week. Let's see if we can sell the tooth to Noxie. 11 gold. Babushka. Alright, Torlando's here. Either we send her now or we never send him, so let's send her. I'll send the hunter with you, since the witch is gone already. Can't send the witch. Can't send the hunter. Buy yourself a new cow. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the wrong button. You know, it's interesting. Given how the game ends, or what the reveal with the Radovians is, I'm a little surprised that Maya's not more instrumental.
Ai, cabo.
You'll see what I mean when we get to that point in the game.
Dabo. Boya. Tababo.
Alana,
Boya.
Bastinas,
Ibabo. Cabo. Ibabo. Tabo. Boy, dabo. Boy.
Estabo, Uestela,
Ubaba. Iwoy. Uba tabo.
Inca, Estina,
Doy.
Ai, Azufa,
Cabo. Kuiwaya. Oh. Kuiwaya. Kupawa.
Taunu, Endo, Uva, Punas, Ana, Umbala, Inala,
Elbo.
Umbala,
Kuwaya. Uwaya.
Ivuna, Ivana,
That must be really tough. Like, I understand that, sort of, for lack of a better term, giving your daughters away for marriage, like, was a part of the culture. Like, that was sort of expected. But, there's kind of this expectation of hospitality. There's this expectation of courtesy, right? A lot of these societies had a sort of unspoken or even spoken cultural expectations of how you would treat guests and stuff like that. I have to imagine it would be really terrifying, really frustrating to marry your daughter into a family and then have that family just totally take advantage of them.
Ibabo.
Regardless, this is the King Summit. There's not a lot of kings here, apparently,
Daboya.
which is separate from the lords who we've met previously.
Oi, cabo. Daboy. Ubayaba. Ibadabo. Boya. Ai. Ibabo. Ibadoiwa.
Admino, Estebanos. Oh?
Umbadahi. Aida. Iwai. Dui. Utawu. Ibadoi.
Break a Minotaur. The Matigan to pull.
Day power. Mirabo. Hey, what? Ubadawa. Ibadoi. Huh?
Sinabat with pray.
Uya. Hey, what? Undao. Dada. Hoidawa. Hell. Ubadawa.
Amazon. Top of Fina Pay and bring a more.
Ooh, Ada. Ada water. Oida. Uda. Mirabo. Iba. Iba.
20 weeks.
Day power. Uda.
Avino. See. Estebanos. The Matigan to pull. Top of Fina Pay.
Oba.
Sinabat with pray.
Oh.
So, before we move on to the next part of this cutscene, the gimmick here is kind of all or nothing, right? We have to choose whether we're going to help all of the Rodovians or help none of the Rodovians. And we have to decide pretty quickly. For this playthrough, I choose to help the Rodovians because we can. Honestly, I'm not sure what happens if you don't help them, other than the fact that you obviously would get a different ending. But we're trying to be a good king, so we'll help the people of the country, even if they are just sort of refugees. This guy is a piece of work.
Boy. Oh. What daddy? Dudo. Dada boy.
No way.
Babiga. You. Hoidawa. Hoidawa.
That's such a gross thing to say.
Dada boy.
Anyway, we're obviously not going to do that. We didn't do it last time, we're not going to do it this time, right? Okay, So, the main gimmick here is that we need to save 5 crates of supplies, which is half of this bar here. We can save more than that, but we need to save at least 5. The game says that 5 will be enough. Obviously, it gives us a reason to save more than that, or it gives us the ability to save more than that for a reason, right? So we're going to save all of these. Each one of these crates is 30 supplies, so by the end of this, by the end of the next 20 weeks, the end of the next 19 weeks, we need to have put away 300 supplies in total. Which is actually not that big of a deal, because we're getting, what is this, 8, 11, 12, 30 supplies every week. So within 10 weeks, we'll have enough supplies for this, not to mention the fact that we're already starting out with almost enough supplies already without making any kind of progress. We will have the option to spend supplies and resources on other things, and we will also, of course, need to use supplies in order to upkeep our army. But I think that Act 2 is or Act 3 is reasonably pretty doable and pretty easy for most people. I didn't think that it was much of a challenge on my second playthrough, or my first playthrough rather, and I didn't think it was much of a challenge on my second playthrough either. But we still have the challenge of optimizing the game, so that's what we're going to do here.
Iba. We buy. Oh buy. Iba oa. Doi. Ka. Wada da biwa. Obanwa. Abua.
Here's the next gimmick of the act as well, though, is that all of the villagers whose requests we answer, or requests we resolve, right, we get to send our agents to their villages to recruit them for battle. I don't know why I called Grego.
Elele, estou onala, nala, chwasena, janga una.
There's more upgrades. The upgrades are actually pretty substantial. We don't have a witch, so we have to give them some gold. If we could send the general here, we would. I think I'm going to send the supplies. We spend less supplies per week than we do gold, so we get the supplies back faster, is my thought there. Well, we summoned Grego a little early, I guess. You can summon him again. It's a little bit of a shame that your ability to call allies is kind of unnecessary at this point in the game. It feels kind of pointless. I mean, we already said no. Okay. So we'll invite Grigo again. And these are all of the villages that we've helped already. If I had chosen not to help Torlando, I could have gotten all of these, actually. As it is, I think we end the game with 2 remaining, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that. But the ones with question marks are the ones that still need to be resolved, right? The ones without question marks are soldiers. The ones with question marks are essentially requests, right? So we want to do those first. And here are all of the upgrades. Again, another good chunk of money. Another 40 supplies plus the 200 that we need to save. Although, as you can see, we're already like almost halfway to the number of soldiers that we need, allegedly. Again, this is pretty expensive, but we have a really good stream of income coming in, especially with the ability to sell dust to Etten and sell paintings to Grigo. Well, we're not going to have a problem with this. But we don't need to do anything until later on, so I'm going to choose to save my resources just in case, even though I know that we don't need them. But I think that that's generally best practice, is to make sure that you have enough money to play the game before you do the upgrades, which are essentially optional. I'm actually not sure if it's possible to lose the final battle. I suspect that it is, but given the way the rest of the game is designed, it might very well be possible that it's not possible. Sorry, that was a weird way to phrase that. The wagon was full of gold and supplies. 7 gold, 7 supplies is pretty good. We don't need it, but it's nice. What a good guy. Alright. We make 6 gold off of that. Yay, potatoes. We want to keep the witch so that we can start sending them to the villages, so we'll just give them some supplies. We lose some contentment there, but that's alright. Like I said, contentment is mostly there for, bragging rights. We are going to send the general. It's only 1 week, and we need to send the general in order to continue the quest line, I believe. We're going to send the witch to Plako. And we're going to send the hunter to Lyric to start collecting our soldiers. We will have more than enough soldiers by the end of the game. It's not close. Only 1 upkeep for our army right now. So again, we're basically getting to keep all the supplies that we make. I wonder how this game would play if it was an actual sim game. Or like a city builder. It's an interesting idea. It would be totally different, of course, but I imagine that you could have a function like this and then also have an actual city builder attached to it pretty easily.
Waka Boa. Egon Wasabum.
I would love to send the hunter, but we actually need the hunter to be here for Torlando. I'm going to give him gold because we actually have more ways of getting gold than supplies. I don't know. I don't think it matters, actually. I know I've said the opposite, last week, but...
Help down, help bow, here. Hey, here. Da baika.
By the dust, of course. And we don't actually have to pay them or anything in order to get them into our army. They're just here. And this color scheme looks familiar, doesn't it? Audrey's reminding us of the gimmick. So, we need to choose now whether we're going to help the Radovians or not help the Radovians. I think, personally, and we'll see this later on, I think that this is kind of backwards. This is actually a really hefty consequence of helping the Radovians. 5 supplies a week means that we're losing somewhere in the ballpark of 100 supplies over the course of the game. Or 150 supplies. No, 75 supplies over the course of the game. Which is not unsubstantial, right? Like, that's more than what we're getting from most of our allies. I think if this had been one of the last decisions what we made, where we had sort of committed ourselves to helping the Radovians, and then we had this huge payment in order to be consistent, this would be more effective. I think as it stands, the 5 supplies a week is actually pretty easy to absorb, and the game gives you plenty of time to plan around it, in my opinion. Whereas the other Radovians don't really require anything, it's just kind of a yes or no. It feels a little unbalanced to me. They do give us fire flowers, which we can use to save the witch during the final battle, if I remember correctly. But it would feel more tangible if they were actually helping us fight in the final battle, in my opinion. Anyway. Let's go tell our wife that we've chosen to help the Radovians. I think it's the right thing to do. It doesn't really matter where we send anybody at this point. Oops. So let's just start sending people places. This doesn't affect the income that we get from the inn or anything like that. And we're going to invite Etten to sell our dust, and that's it for this week. Like I said, we don't need to make any changes to make any purchases at the end of the week because None of them affect our income. They're all just for the final battle.
Oi, bye.
I suspect everything is not fine with her, my man.
Oi, devil. Oi, oi.
These are all going to say basically the same thing. There's no reason to really read them with any
Zadu.
depth. Sell our dusts.
Oi, zoom.
I do like the way that he's voice acted. And we'll go ahead and send the hunter. There's not going to be a better time to send them. We might as well send them now. Oh, actually. No, never mind. I'm not going to send him now. I'm going to send him next time. Because I need the hunter for something else. My mistake. I almost made a mistake there.
Oi, bada. Badai bo. Oi, bade. Oi, debo. Badai. Oi, kama. Oi, boa. Oi, bada.
Give him some gold to repair his cart.
Oi, waya. Debo, bada. Oi, kama. Oi, ba. Oi, bai. Oi, ai, bai. Oi, ba. Dui, ba.
It would also be nice if the type of people that you helped affect the battle, these are all basically just considered soldiers, but like, that woman's a witch, essentially. We don't need them. This is actually really expensive, but we can afford it, so we're going to take it. Okay. Doesn't matter who we send where. Our priority is the question marks, but we don't have any question marks, so we're just going to start sending people wherever we can. We don't need to invite anybody. Let's go ahead and end the week. Let me just read through my notes here. Oh, it is worth noting that we can't take a loan out in the bank if we're missing any money at the end of the process, right? If we take a loan out the very last week, we actually don't have to pay anything back, technically. Well, I don't. Maybe Eric does, but I don't. We spend quite a bit of money on our gold, on our agents, right? This is, what, 31 gold per week, which is most of what we make as far as, income. So we don't want to spend a ton of our gold if we don't have to, but we have enough of a stockpile that we can afford to spend some gold and then still be able to import all of this stuff, right? Just to keep it in mind. That's how I'm thinking about it, right? We don't actually have a ton of decisions to make at this point in the game, because we've kind of already made a lot of decisions that we made in order to get our income to where it is, and now the income is just doing the job for us, essentially.
You go watch the
Kuya.
Lúc ấy ta bầu không ta bầu u bà tới u bà khối u bà cô bối
Kaboa.
u cá bồi này đi ta bầu
Wada biwa.
đi bể cái bồi u bà khối đi đời u bà tới
Kaboy.
cô bác bay
Kay wada.
cái bà lúc ấy u bà tới cái bà cô bối cái bà lúc ấy
Unfortunately, we can't afford to send the hunter because we need the hunter for Torlando.
Kuiwa. Table.
u bà khối cá bà tới rồi
He's a nice guy. Nice thing to say right in front of the dude you're insulting too. Can't send the hunter for this one. Or actually, I can send the hunter for this one because he'll be back the same week that Orlando is back. So we get to still we have to choose one anyway. We might as well help this guy, right? It is possible that we could have changed when Torlando appeared by delaying the first part of his quest. I'm actually not sure. And maybe we would have been able to do the demon, but it just wasn't meant to be. And we are at the point now where we can choose to not pay our upkeep if it ever becomes a problem. We already have the required number of soldiers and we're going to continue to get more. But 4 supplies every week is less than we're paying the Redovians. It's pretty negligible at this point, in my opinion. And I feel like I know what I'm talking about because I beat the game at least. So, you know, it worked.
Kaba. Dubai.
cô vụ
Vela erosion. Uba after Eva Ua. Uda Afakana. Eka Ua. Kana Hida Ono. Uga. Istana.
Ibabo. Obawa.
Asta.
Ejda Ejtanka, Uvasagas, Jalalunguntala, Varaka Kansnila, Zera, Inafuka.
Nice lady. She's no longer our ally because we helped the Redovians.
Ka.
So helping the Redovians is definitely like more expensive than not helping them, right?
Kuiwa.
That's why it feels like it's the right thing to do for a playthrough like this. It's more challenging to help them, so that's what we're shooting for.
Oya. Uba. Oya. Taboa.
Aquí no prepeten. It's so good. Sí. Baba mama.
Tibawo.
Kamasola, Irakama. Ilakova, Kala Oda.
Oh. Ubai.
You know, I wonder if this fable is not super well known in whatever part of the world made this video game, but I think just about anybody in the West has probably heard this story. It feels it's a little comedic. I struggle to imagine that someone would actually react this way, but what do I know? Maybe they would. So, we can imprison this guy and get the sugar for free, but that feels like it's not in the spirit of this run. We're gonna be a nice guy about it, right? We just get to give it to our wife. It's not like anything special. Let's go to the garden and talk to our daughter here, who's causing problems.
Ina. Akuvutoku. Ike. Debo Kama.
Ikabano.
Avosta. Istuvu ano.
Oh. Wanda bayo.
Tara akana. Inakova.
Doiba.
Iwa. Akana poka. Kati.
Ibadabo.
Waka esta. Kava inabo.
Kuwaya.
Good advice.
Asta.
Ashabu.
Doi.
Tabun. Akivu.
But they're just kids.
Tabawo. We buy.
Life's hard right now.
Boya.
Iba tepe.
Inosto.
Azipa.
Akana ula.
Kwa.
I think that's funny. Oh, also, I got a tattoo, by the way.
Mamo.
Tibawo.
Akanu. Unu.
Tabawa. Daba tibaro. Oi kabo.
O. Aba. Awanasti.
I don't think anybody's overreacting in this situation. I think there's a lot going on, and she is in that age.
Kalana.
Kuyoya. Tabo.
Di awa umbala.
Let's give her the sugar also.
Dabo. Ti. Yaboa.
Okay. This brings up an interesting question for me. Right, historically, in the Middle Ages, it was safer to drink alcohol than it was to drink water. Because in the alcohol, in the brewing process, the water would be sterilized, right? And just raw water was often dangerous. So if you were pregnant, presumably you were still drinking alcohol, right? Because it was safer. Was there like a special water? Did they boil their water? Did they know to boil their water? Did they know that drinking alcohol was bad for babies? Did everybody in the Middle Ages just have fetal alcohol syndrome? I don't know that I've ever thought about this before. I'm not sure if there's an answer. I wonder if I can like Google it or something. Oh well, I'll figure it out later. Just something that I thought about and wanted to point out.
Inoha. Bastinas. Ivana.
I am thoughtful. I spent 23 gold on the bag of sugar, which is enough to build a village, apparently. So it better be good sugar. Alright. Oh. Okay. Moving right along here.
Stabalala.
O Shaila.
It feels like a little bit of voice that we sent the hunter and didn't get anything out of it. But he's here just in time to help Torlando with his new epic.
Uba astako. Ekatene.
If you're curious, Torlando gives you a bunch of gold. I question whether it's necessary. I mean, I know it's not necessary. I question if it would have been better to play the game without Torlando, but it is what it is, right? We can't send the hunter, of course. I'll send the witch to help him. Ivo does not sound like a very nice dude. It's usually not a good sign when you get a letter like this from your daughter.
Kuiwaya. Oi. Oi to koi. Wata. Ubo. Habao. Kabo. Oh.
Yeah, I guess we do need to tell our wife, huh?
Unas.
Iwoi. Toi. Oi. Tabu. Akraidu.
Apaan.
Abadaya.
Ulas. Uva.
Abo.
Estina. Ivana.
Yaboa.
Akanula. Kuvala.
Ibabo. Huarabai. Oi damo.
Ikano.
That would be nice. I have a feeling that it's not going to work that way.
Inobu.
Kuiwaya.
Uastama.
Ai kabo. Oh.
Uvala. Anwana.
Boy. Toi. Boya.
Ivuka.
Kuwaya.
So when I say that the game's not particularly challenging, but it does get a little heavy, this is what I'm referring to. I think the idea of sending your daughter off to marry somebody and having them just completely betray your trust is challenging to imagine. And I say that as somebody that doesn't have any kids. We now have almost twice the number of soldiers that we need.
Oi ba.
Despite what Audrey says,
Bai.
we have plenty of soldiers, dude. We're good.
Toi ba boy.
Oh, sorry. Did that too fast there.
Hey, what? What? Zui. What? Zone.
Buy some dust.
Oi ba boy. Dabo. Zone.
We don't need the supplies at all.
Dabo. Koi wa. Koi. Uba wa. Uba do. Dabo. Kabo boy.
Almost halfway there, though.
Kuvina.
Boya.
Oh, excuse me.
Kibi. Kapati. Ka. Kibi. Akabatibi.
He believes that touching us will heal him.
Obama.
There's actually not any consequence for us doing this, so you might as well save the gold, right?
Kapatu. Shabano.
Oh, my cat's here. Hi, Jim. You're so big and in the way. Yes. Oh, you don't want me to touch you, okay.
We buy. Pestle. Le Philip. Silib. P. Papa. Silid.
It's too bad you're standing in front of my guide. Yeah.
System.
Did you know you're doing that?
Percival. Philip. Philip.
We would need 25 gold. Yep, we can give him the 25 gold.
That boy. Uba.
I think this fails either way,
Jared.
but at least this way our general is available to continue. Get off of me! Excuse me. Sorry about that. My cat's bothering me. I'm going to try something here. I believe when I did this last time, I sent the general... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go talk to our wife first. We get a quest here to procure supplies for our wife's birthing ceremony.
Kalana. Di awa. Late enuko.
Abo.
Unas. Kapibas. Ele. Ula kanale. Trasene.
Or.
Esta uva. Efununot. Samsonele.
E.
Ula kanale. Late enuko. اشتاح أوفا إفنونو نالا لاتي إنوكو ونالا إولا كانال أوناش سامسونيل
Jam, you're gonna annoy me.
Oi.
Do you need to be in front of the computer screen while I'm trying to play? Stop rubbing the microphone. Sorry, I don't know if you guys could hear that.
Danga Una
She's wants to be in the way right now. Alright, let's get through this. So we need to get a bunch of supplies for our wife.
Gabo boy. Da boy.
Okay, so we could send our general to go investigate these. When I tested it, I didn't test it super thoroughly, admittedly. When I tested it, the general wasn't able to find it both times, but the witch was able to find it the first time. And she was able to find it the first time on my first playthrough. So, I'm going to try doing something else. And I'm going to send the general to go talk to villagers instead. And we're going to see if the witch does it the first time on this playthrough as well. We're also going to invite Lord Eden to sell him some dust. I don't know if this will work, but we're gonna test it live here.
Oi, oi. Oi. Oi.
That's actually like a pretty incredible thing to be able to do.
Doite. Da boy. Oi boy. Zoo. Ya boy. Zoe. What?
And of course, our youngest daughter is copying the eldest daughter here, if you notice.
Da boy. Koi. Koi ba. Dai bo. Oi ba ka. Oi boa. Oh. Kui oi ya. Oi.
Jam, hi, just lay down, please. Just lay down.
Kua. Upai wo. Da boy. Kua ya. Kui wa ya. Pi oi. Akraidu. Di ba wo. I ba wo. You. Boy ya.
I like Sedani. She's cute.
Oi ba day. Ba day. Oi ba da. Koi ba. Di ba. Oi ba koi. Ba day bo.
Send a general to talk to the lords.
Oi ya. Oi ba. Oi ai bai. Oi bai.
Wigan Bostowak. Wacko Wacko Bomb. Wack Wack Bokonsto. Bobosan.
Send the hunter. Well, I think we paid this guy twice already. Let's just send the hunter. Ah, the King of Rodovia. A red-haired man. I guess we can go through all of this. It's important.
Kaba.
So here's the reveal that the Rodovians that have been pillaging the countryside are not the Rodovians that we fought at the mountain pass.
We buy. Kaba boy. Boy, be boy. Boy,
And we find out that they didn't actually intend to fight us, but fight us they did. He also looks like he's wearing a kilt. I wonder if that's intentional.
cool, yeah. Ibadabo. Obanwa. Yaboa. Ka.
Obviously, we're going to let him go. We've already decided that we're going to help the Rodovians. I think that this is a little convenient, right? It's worth noting that Bayern doesn't deny that he was planning on coming to Grevno to ask for Eric's ask for Lusulia's hand in marriage, right? Like, he doesn't deny that that was his intention. He was coming to invoke an old promise. And that carries some weight for royalty, right? And so, while he wasn't coming to invade, he wasn't coming to attack, he was still coming as an aggressor, which I think is important to keep in mind here. Like, he's not totally just... It's not totally a misunderstanding. He was here to do what Eric and Aurelia were afraid he was here to do. They just sort of overestimated the threat, right? Which I think is a reasonable... They came to a reasonable conclusion, right? He's coming to ask for our daughter's hand in marriage. He's sending us a letter saying that he's coming to ask for our daughter's hand in marriage. We are oath-bound, honor-bound as not just people, but as royalty to honor our promise. And he's coming with, 2,000 men. I mean, that feels like an invading army, right? I think the reveal here that no, actually, they're refugees and they were never planning to attack us and blah, 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 blah. Like, that to me feels a little convenient. It kind of wraps it up a little bit too nicely, right? It's like, oh no, all of those Rodovians that did bad things, those are different Rodovians. We're good Rodovians. Like, I realize that stuff like this does happen. I think it would be more interesting if, yes, they were here to do, like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how you would make this more interesting. I think it's fine. I think it works. It makes characters like Maya feel more redeemable, right? His daughter. Although we don't know that yet. But I think it would be interesting if the game did more to justify the Rodovians being here, rather than just giving us what is essentially like exposition in the epilogue of the story. And there's the reveal that Maya is his daughter. But this makes Lucilia's situation like especially tragic because we basically put her into an arranged marriage with a madman for no reason.
Hey, that boy. Boy, Uba.
Kapali.
Hey, boy.
Koa.
Kaboa, Koiwaya, Duiba boy. Uba, Kubai.
Ibana.
But like Eric says here, like
We buy.
he was still intending to marry, you know, a 13-year-old girl. And he's definitely at least in his 30s because he was old enough 13 years ago to hold Eric and Aurelia hostage. So, like, definitely late teens at the very earliest.
Ala.
Bajubo.
Ubala.
Boy,
Banukula.
Wanda Bayo.
Una.
Boy, that boy.
All right.
Uvashin. Ana.
Send the witch to go get the roof flower, see what happens here. I don't think it matters which one we send her to, but I guess we'll find out. I don't know if it's random or not, actually. I really don't. I suspect that it's not, because nothing else in the game is random. But maybe this is the one thing that is random. Who knows?
Nakavula.
Nope, she didn't find it.
Anstufe.
Okay. You are annoying me, young lady. Orlando's back.
Kuwaya. Daboa. Koi. Kaboa. Uba. Boy, boy.
So, it's a poem about sex.
Kibi. Kibi ba. Kibi ba betul.
Or. Ubkawa. Bye bye bye. Ubay. Baba. Oi, Kaboa. Oi. Ka. Kuiwaya.
Alawi.
Oi.
Yep, we need him to stay.
Wada.
Sadani's pretty talented. He seems to have a hand with wild animals. Send him some supplies. We have plenty. I'm gonna send a witch to another location here. Let's go talk to our family.
Mentena.
Boy,
Atuna. Akunu. Elaka.
boy. E. Boy.
Atuna.
Koi. Abo.
we're here. Let's go to the bookshelf.
Wah. Oi, Dapo.
This is where we need get the book for the ritual. We need to read it.
Ubai wa. Diba wa. Bi wa. Uban wa. Wada da bi wa. Kaba wa. Dabo wa ya. Daba de ba da wa. Koi. Uara ba wa. Uba de ba wa. Uba kuba ya. Dabo. Ya ba wa. Uba. Dabo wa. Boy ya. Kaba wa. Doi ba boy. Dabo wa ya. Wanda ba yo. Or ba do bo. Daba de ba da wa. E.
Kala.
Da. Iba da bo. Iba bo.
Iu.
Oi.
Uno. Uona.
Ka.
Elakana.
Diba wo.
Elana.
I feel like Sadani should be old enough to read, but maybe I'm mistaken.
Maman.
Oi.
Ina.
Oi. Oi. Uara ba yo. Dabo wa da.
Inu.
Uba wa.
Aliba. Ik. Kuvu. Ikana.
Dabo wa. Oi. Bai.
Kalana.
Oya. Oi dapo.
Azufa.
Dabo.
There's another item that we can get from the dungeon, which is the mushrooms.
Oi.
They've been here the whole game, waiting for us to pick them. So I'm going to go ahead and do some upgrades here. Since we have plenty of supplies. We have so many supplies. I mean, I can do all of these, but I'm going to follow the guide for the time being. I decided it was prudent to wait, so I'm going to follow the guide and wait.
Oi ba dai. Dai ba oi. Oi ba. Oi oi.
Ezovo abashula.
So she got it on her second try.
Linspel.
I wonder if it's based on the location. I really don't know.
Oi bai. Oi ba oi. Truth. Cinnamon. Le Philip. Blessed. Blob. Papa. Sister Sim.
Give us some more gold.
Esina. Uru. Anuzu. Alana. Gustavo.
Dubadi. Ubayo. Obadiah. Dial whale. Obadiah. Ubaza. Ubayo. Obawaba. Badabade. Obadiah.
I'll just follow the guide here.
Kuaya. Abadaya. Ahoy. Obade.
Acabo, abedo anzisi. Over Kevin, Akuva over,
Doi.
Akuva, Uva Ada, Ebe Kevin, Una Azavai.
Kuaya. Yago. Uba.
Katiwo, over Kevin, Ken over, again Uva,
Kaboa.
Uva da Umba.
This is basically just busy work to use up our supplies, but we can afford it, so why not? Maya's here.
Doi. Oh. Kuaya.
Inu. Asta. Naga enako. Kunabo. Vuelta ata.
Oh.
Ohalaka.
Daba.
Well, that's nice.
Uva.
Ebo, aboy, uboy, kuwa ya.
Kuvina. Estabo.
O,
Ino.
oi,
Estina. Ivana.
kaboy.
Okay, let's keep sending our people out to find people. Do I have a hunter? No, I don't. Okay.
Obai, ubai, iwawa, awai, tibawa. Oi, oi.
Von o Sheila.
Okay. Rocks from the fortune teller.
Boy, kaboa.
So, the game kind of hints that these are not real, but I know that at least this one does something. So, I just buy all of them because I can.
Dabawa.
I buy all of them just because I can. We can think of them as like decorations, right? If nothing else.
Ka,
But what the Stone of Positivity does is that if you decline somebody's request, it will prevent the contentment loss. It's very possible that it only works once. It's very possible that that's the only one that does anything, but I do decide to buy all of them. 7 weeks to go. Okay, so this merchant sells items that we need for the ritual. We need betony oil, twice, 2 betony oils, and one mugwort oil. That's all.
Auvatila. Avuuka. Kwana hida. Uga. Ekatene. Ekaua. Estebu. Estebu. Kuva upa. Ana. Ana. Uga. Ila.
Okay. There's not really a good resolution for this quest, unfortunately, which I think is a shame. I suspect that the implication here is that the boy is autistic. That's how I read it. Maybe not doing anything is the best solution. I'm not sure. We are starting to spend up a lot of our gold here. We need 2 basilisk eggs, and I think that's the only thing that we're missing, which will come from a different merchant. Plenty of supplies, though.
Estebul.
Oh.
Uh-oh, our hunter got lost.
Ai wo wa we. Ai bo boy. Kui wa ya.
Avu uka. Akawa. Ono. Kwana hida. Ekatene.
Ai kui wo ya. Ya bo da bo wo ya.
Mushni. Ova.
Dabo.
Amazon, repetine, sim. Bâtiment, de Martigento, Avino, oh, break, convention, and bring a more.
We have to send the witch here because the hunter's lost in the woods.
Da bo bi wo.
Aqui não prend.
Da bo we. We.
This is not a good letter. Not without great grief, I feel obliged to inform you that after many long debates and attempts to expel the devil out of Lorsulia, it was deemed necessary to ultimately cleanse her body by flame and pray to God to forgive her soul. I feel like, obviously the implication here is pretty tremendous. Like, she was, I mean, no reason to believe that she wasn't tortured before she was burned at the stake. I feel like it's often overlooked how inhuman a lot of medieval executions were, right? Like pressing people between stones, putting them on the rack, burning them at the stake, were all, I think, designed to be, not I think, were just incredibly painful. And I feel like that gets glossed over a lot in medieval fiction. Not that I'm not saying that that's what's happening here. I think that this game understands the gravity of this. But I think in a lot of stories, in a lot of documentaries about medieval history, I don't think enough time is spent on just how barbaric a lot of the people living in these communities actually were. It would have been a really tough time to live in, I think, in my opinion. And yeah, dude, I'd probably faint if I heard that my daughter had been burned alive, too.
Aba. Inalo.
Boy.
Echo. Ova.
Doi. Ba kaba we.
Ina.
Kupawa. Dabuwa. Wata. Kaba. Boya.
Taunu. Ulas. Ekalavo.
Oi. Kakabuwa. Oi.
Ebakon. Umbai.
Oi.
Enukuvala.
Obawa.
Uvoi. Di agua. Kapipa. Akiro. Astina. Uno.
Kai. Ka.
Ova.
Oba.
Kati. Endo.
Doi.
Oh.
Oi.
Ina. Inka.
Aba kuwa. Akredu. Dabu.
That's tough. It'd be bad enough just to hear that your daughter died or that your daughter was murdered, but burned alive is something else, man.
Oh.
Alakano, Wana,
I do like how
对吧？
the family rallies around the mother. And I like how the kingdom rallies around this too. There's like some nice touches here that I think are very touching. But
Ipak,
Ivo is gonna get what's coming to him, man.
对，
Isu, Joini, Akana Istile, Umato, Elena, Alaku, Makubla,
哦，
Ulala, Fini, Alawi, Mate, Fini,
哦，一半不，不会啊，
Tune, Isimu, Isi, Afana,
哎不，
Upa,
Hmm.
Ekula, Ekatu,
要不啊，
Ulala,
大不啊，
Of course, if you guys have ever lost somebody, one of the things that makes grief so powerful is that it really feels like your world stops and everything else around you keeps going. You know, all you need is some time to process, and you just don't get that because you still have to, you know, do your groceries and do your taxes and go to work and pay bills. It's like nothing stops. And so you have to get back to business. You have to keep doing what you were doing, because to do otherwise would be to let things fall apart. And we can't let things fall apart.
不，对，
Ikana, Ikana,
I consider myself very fortunate that I haven't lost anybody especially close to me, but I've seen the way that grief affects people, and I've
对吧？
Ina, Azifa,
been close to people going through grief, and it's hard. It's always hard. You know, a lot of people want to hide from their grief, and you can't, because first of all, the grief follows you, of course, but you know, it's in your head, it's in your heart, but also it's, you know, you don't get time. Most of us don't get time to process it. We don't get time to really grieve. We have to kind of just get back down to business. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to recruit everybody, but we're going to get close. Our finances look good. Our supplies look good. Our gold looks good. There's no real reason for us to not be able to pay for everything. The game doesn't challenge us enough for us to have to, for us to have to make difficult decisions like that.
看我，哦，
But like Eric says, he doesn't know if he's ready to deal with it, but he doesn't have a choice. Life keeps going.
喂的喂，喂的，喂的喂的，都喂，喂的喂的喂，嗨的，喂，
喂拜，我大大不王，
对喂喂，嗨拜，不对，
亏我呀，不背我，不呀，
You get some gold for it.
啥？
Sell some dust.
我所以，我拉住，别别别，别别别，哎，喂，亏我呀，亏我呀，怕什么？是了。
Like he says, the stones are deception, but I know for sure at least one of them works.
大不会，不会啊，喂，
Alaku, alaku, alaku,
大不会。
I like that the citizens come to console you.
nakaba, ilukalabi. Ikabazo, abini, ufa,
I think that really makes it feel like you have a community with these people. And it really drives home how tragic it is that what happens to Lucilia. She really seemed to be like a genuinely good person, genuinely kind woman, young woman. She was 13. I think the game does this really well, actually.
Repetine? Sì. Dopo fina pe. Osino. Fina. E c'est bon, non? Oh? Bâtiment.
Mama Metiba, Baba Jotabo, Amino Bobito, Obama, Cabano no.
Mahana kana istina. Udakat. Un foto ola. Balahuna. Tego fona.
We have a witch? No, we don't have a witch. On to week 46. Still doing well.
Abastila. Stavelala. Destapola.
I think this is a really cool resolution.
Vonge de lacas. Vela ejevel.
Kai, bi wai, koi,
Anstufe.
di ba wo.
If you're ever out in the woods, hygiene is really, really important. You always want to go upstream from the campground, right? We don't think anything of it in modern life because, we wash everything in sinks and stuff like that, and we have sewer systems that take our waste away. But, even something as simple as somebody going to the bathroom upstream can poison somebody, right? Because you've contaminated that water. Maybe not forever, but enough that you have something that dies in the water, for example, something that rots in the water. All of those things can cause very real harm to people that rely on that water source for survival. I think it's really cool to have that be the resolution to the quest.
Pana uta.
Oba ai boy,
Ola. Inasta uta.
we bai.
Babushka.
Koi wa ya. Kaba. Eh,
Let's send the witch.
Oba. Dubai. Dabu you ya bo. Doi.
Bummer.
Dubai wa. You ba wa.
Thank you, Audrey. I haven't forgotten. Remember, we need to buy 2 basilisk eggs here.
Boy. Cabo.
And that's all we need from him. Okay. Let's go to the bedchamber and talk to Aurelia, make sure we have everything that we need for the ritual. We should, but it doesn't hurt to check.
Ana. Ainima.
Yep, we have all the items we need.
Bunas.
Great.
Boy doi ba. Oh.
Memo.
And then let's go and meet the Radovians at the castle wall here. And of course, we have to let them go. We lose some contentment from that, but honestly, contentment is not very important. Keep going. I think the witch is not available. Is the hunter available? Yes, okay. And we don't have any dust. And immediately we go to the King's Summit.
你爸无
Avino.
无呀，故意为呀，爸就无。咦，故啊呀，哇哒啦比哇，卡不会，卡不会，对，不会呀，阿爸的呀，呀不啊，对吧？我阿爸的，他不啊，阿爸的爸的我，哎不，我爸的我。
Baba mama, sin of fun for pray. As they bound on. Paul, I pray for hope. But me no, Amazon. I can't pump.
诶，乌达，乌达，乌爸讲我係，但係爸對。
So, we got one king to help us. We can't do anything about the other king, right? Of course, we can only ever get one. But we got one because we made sure that we picked the same option each time. Not a difficult mechanic, right?
爸的會對會，對對會對。
We actually get quite a bit of gold from this. 42 gold is a lot. I do think that it's probably better to not help Torlando because you do lose your general, your witch, and your hunter for a pretty substantial amount of time. I do think that you could probably get a more quote-unquote perfect playthrough as far as helping the other peasants, but Torlando seems like a really important event, so I figured I would complete him.
會爸會打會
Whack up, whack up, bobo,
會
someone.
話呀，
3 weeks.
And bring up more. Break a winner to top of it now. Pay the Martin to pool. See.
We need our general, so we'll help them build a new well.
打爸。
I don't think this is really a good solution, but it's better than not helping them, right?
Martin no more.
Đi về.
必會會卡
Tụi đâu? Cô bay. Cô bay. Cô bay đâu vậy? Tụi bay.
烏爸。 You
In a cover.
Yes, Mira mai. Sfera, Futfica, Mira, Vera, Futfica, et Futfia.
Take the gold.
會呀，
We need our... We don't have a witch anyway.
啲爸王打不啊。
Sfera, et boy.
Stephen.
打不會會。
Let's go talk to Asalia. She wanted to see us.
會
Alana. Upa kalala. Dua kalkula.
跨
Asa. Akwa.
打
Akubula ene. Ualaba. Akana ehebe. Istana upa. Igina aba. Elaka. Istaba wala. Te au abata. Ustana ba. Una istana. Ibuka. Enaka u.
I've seen... There's not a lot of conversation about this game on the internet. I've seen some people really frustrated by Asalia. For what it's worth, I think that she's pretty appropriately written for a 12-year-old girl. If anything, she acts older than her age. I do agree, on one hand, that it seems a little weird to let her leave here. And I'm a little surprised given her character, that she wouldn't choose to stay and fight. But I also think that this is the best time for her to leave, because if you wait until the castle is besieged, she doesn't have anywhere to go, right? And so from a father's perspective, you would actually want to send your children away to another castle, to another lord, for safekeeping. Because that way, even if you lose the battle, you've avoided kind of the worst case scenario, right? Unless you really think that you have no allies, or you don't think that there's any place that's safe for them. So, you know, I can see both sides of the argument here. I don't think that she's obnoxious. I think some people really project onto Asalia in a way that's a little unhealthy, but I think she's an interesting character. All of the decisions that we've been making up to this point led to this decision, though. So, of course, we're going to let her leave.
오빠, 일단은 맨때네. 어이구,
And she's gone. But we'll go and tell the others, of course. You have to think, though, it is going to be lonely for Sadani. She's now has no sisters, and she used to have 2 sisters just within the past couple of months.
Pini, ipak, ele,
이 바보, 이 뭐야? 구이오야?
ai kamu,
어이가.
That would be a little tough for a sibling, I think. To go from having 2 sisters to having none would, I imagine, be quite a shift.
ala bawi, umbala, ina, inu, divinala.
I think, speaking realistically, it probably doesn't end well for her. But I guess she's traveling with Maya's family. She's traveling with the quote-unquote king of the Rodovians. She'll probably be fine. And off we go. This is just more bullshit from Ivo. Talking about witchcraft. This doesn't really pertain to us. But it is a little bit of salt in the wound, for sure. 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks isn't a lot of time when your life is on the line, it turns out.
vons de la castabalala.
Lipate, goodbye, kaboy, ibo, kaboy, tabo, lipate, ibo, kaboy, idoy.
Bruh, Jared.
Bear in the council chamber. I mean, the witch is here. She's obviously fine.
Hala, duwada, ila kupane.
We need the bear alive.
Isto ola, iwinda.
We do need the bear alive. Let's go back to the audience chamber. The throne room, excuse me.
Zan Winobe, Bueno nan Izeba Zizibra Isto Winno Winno Bewe Zan Bewe Isto Zan Bra Isto Zan Prat Zizibra Zan Bewe
Oi, Cabo.
We'll send the gold.
Kuiuia.
Iso Zan Winno Be
Punas.
Iba oi.
Ina. Aliva. Uva.
Iwai. Uban.
Jana balak.
Uban wa.
Endo. Ivana.
Kuaya.
Halana. Kubasina.
Iwai.
We're down to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we didn't continue to get more villages to talk to, we would be fine. It's worth noting, like, these villages are not that far away from each other. You could send one person out here to get, like, 3 villages in a week. But, whatever. This is our last chance to call the banker if we want him, but we don't need him. But, you know, if you're playing the game your own way and you're referring to this guide for whatever reason, week 48 is the last week to call the banker because you talked to him on week 49, and then week 50 is the final battle. We will not be able to get everybody. Unfortunately, we'll be short too, but we get pretty close. If we hadn't helped Orlando, we probably could have gotten all of these, I think. Something to consider. It's not worth it to me to go back and replay the game again, but we could have. I'm going to go ahead and get everything now. We don't need to. We still have one more week, but I want to be better safe than sorry. Make sure I don't forget. Because that tends to happen with me, and I'm thinking about it now. We end up pretty even, actually, with a pretty even amount of gold and resources. So it's pretty well balanced. And our people are very happy with us. Which makes me feel good as a benevolent king. It's hard being in charge because you want the people that are under you to be happy with your leadership, but that can be challenging because you also have to be able to set boundaries, and some people don't respect boundaries.
It's so good. Amazon. Sinopon and bring on more. Manasifa.
Eu. Kuiuia. Zoom. 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 Oia. Dabo.
I wonder what happens if you invite King Barad now and tell him, hey, by the way, my daughter ran away from you because she didn't want to marry you.
Bueno Nancy
Elbow. Caboa.
Zizibra Zan Zan Bueno Bewe
Boy. Oi. Uban. Kibi bakobot. Dabo. Dabo. Uban.
Oh, cool. Ik begin. Ik wil over. In de uren. Ik is die. Ik ken het uur. Oga. Astapo. Postaan bakanda. Ik heb also. Een combo. Ele kalabi. Kala uboda. Lava. Een uba.
Wanda bayo. Oi. Oi.
I picked the orange one here. I feel like... I guess I don't know what the culture of this is, but to me, I feel like the spirit of building it with your children is something that I want to reward.
Abadaya. Tibawo. Caboa. Ah.
Ik is die. Ken het uba.
We bye.
Ken bala.
Ubawe Kabawo Ubatai
Here's 12 golds.
Ibabo. Ka. Hey, baka.
Kubo Kubo
Kaboy, Yaboa,
Ita pe.
Kuyoya,
Tufuna. Esina.
Uba,
Kufu.
Tiba Wong.
Uno.
Oh,
Usale. Hello. Istala.
Kuyoya, Elbow, Uaya, Kuaya, Kaboy,
Uno. Ishikuku. Uwa.
Uba Kubay,
Elakana. Ilu usta.
Doiva. Boya,
You know, if the bear wasn't going to just scratch your face off and maul you to death, I do think having a bear as a pet would be very fun.
Ana.
Uba, Dabo Wada, Uboy, Boy Dapo, Dapo,
Enastiba. Ubala.
Inalo. Kapipas. Koa.
Boya, Boy, Bajo, Boy,
Ahoma.
or Boy,
Ino. Tiawa. Uva. Gavanilas.
A,
Ina. Pastinas.
Abiga,
Vina.
E, O,
Ikana. Estabo.
We, Bye,
Ivana.
Dabo, Kuya, Yaboa,
Estina. Inu. Eva. Okapuna.
Boy, Baka.
Ana.
Okay. Week 49, we have all of the upgrades, all of the supplies. We don't actually get to play week 49 though. We get to do the ritual.
Erikana. Trazena.
Boy,
Danga una. Inka. Edrena. Unash. Efununo. Samsonel. Unal.
I don't need to flip through the book. I've already studied.
Kovo. Tawinu. Ulash.
You, Daboy,
Ik.
Dabo,
Ela. Dona estufun. Istakano ufte. Ununda kana. Istakano ufte. Estudo andun. Dona estufun.
We beg forgiveness for calling upon you.
Babua,
Istakano ufte.
We ask that you give us what we desire.
Babi,
Estudo andunda.
Let the mountain break under the manhood of our child.
Uba,
Ununda kana.
Kua,
Elele nala.
Kaba,
Dona ela. Esta unva. Edrena. Danga una. Trazena. Unala. Elele. Ula kanala.
Boy,
So, in the left pot, which is the young girl, I believe,
Dabo,
we're going to put one basilisk egg.
Kaboa,
In the middle pot, which is the old woman, we're going to place 2 betony oils.
Boy, Yaboa, O,
And on the right pot, which is the grown woman, mugwort oil and basilisk egg.
Boya, Boy,
If you forget, you can always just talk to Delilah again. She will tell you. There's no time limit for this. It's done.
Erikana.
Yes.
Or,
Estudo andunda.
And we get the reveal that magic is real. Up to this point, there's been kind of a plausible explanation for the things that have been happening. Right? Even in the battle with the Rodovians, everything was, you know, tools or plants or whatever, but this is real.
Istakano ufte. Dona estufun.
Nurg va futaos fere.
Ununda kana.
Nurg va futaos fere.
Uba,
Estudo andunda.
For Eve as tua me. For Eve as tua me.
Dona estufun.
Bring de chiol das si. Ring de Chiol, das RC. If you want, you could just look at like the last two words of the answer, and those will be the same.
Efene. Eleven. Oyster.
Let's do Eric II. We're a good prince. We want to respect the legacy of our work here. And our wife survives. So a little bit of a happy ending there, or a happy resolution to that at least. We still have to protect our family from, or what's left of our family from the remaining invaders. But here they are, right on time. Let me just go ahead and talk to everybody. Look at all of our upgrades. We got bombs from the Radovians. Like I said, the Radovians themselves don't help us directly, but they give us some of their equipment. Hot oil is a classic. Again, very painful. Essentially burning people alive.
Confala, Ejabala, son chalet, or Shayla.
Only 100 arrows against 3,000 people is not very many. That's the other problem. They don't talk about this with sieges, but when you're using things like arrows or catapults or whatever, the materials that you use to fire against the enemies can be used against you. Which is technically true when you're being sieged, but you have a little bit less flexibility there. I think that's the first time we hear the hunter's name. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not true. I think we're ready. If nothing else, we've dramatically improved the quality of the castle and the castle walls, so... we got some benefit there, at least. Ivo the Divine. Of course, we don't want to shoot the messenger. Sobek is cool. I like his resolution, kind of, or his reveal. You'll see. Of course, we want to be a good ruler here. We're not just going to give people orders without, you know, giving them encouragement. But I'm not sure if it matters. But it's time to go. Time to see if this is all worth it. 5,000 soldiers. So they're going to dig essentially a trench under the castle walls to collapse the castle walls, and we want to prevent that. We could send the hunter, but the hunter would die completing his mission. But we can dig out a smaller tunnel and collapse their tunnel before they get to our castle walls,
佢話呀，對，
preventing them from being able to collapse our... I just said that. You know what I mean.
好吧，會打吧，別位打不啊，開我打，好吧，卡不會，起吧，哦，會拜。
Yep, better hope they work. They're now throwing rocks at us, but we fortified our walls. So, as far as I can tell, there's no consequence at this point to giving supplies to everybody that requests them, because we saved more than we needed. Otherwise, I think you'd have to pick and choose. Of course, if you don't have enough supplies for everybody, you want to prioritize the soldiers, because they're the ones that are actually holding the army back. It's a good touch. I'm trying. And that's everybody fed. I think the wife wanted to talk to us. I don't remember. We've got something to fight for, besides just the castle and, of course, all of our soldiers. Something a little bit more personal. The heir that we've always wanted, and what's left of our family. And that's why we saved the bear, because the bear saves our kids, and it would be awfully tragic to lose what's left of our family, wouldn't it? Your supplies are fine, Audrey. This is what the fire arrows are for. A little bit unintuitively. You could send the witch, but the witch would die. We want to save everybody, so we're going to use the players. And that clears up the incense. I'm not sure how that works, but it does. What was that, 40 soldiers per volley? Of course, Sobek isn't here. I don't know where he is. We need the supplies. We lose some soldiers, but we can't afford to not have supplies. In a siege, supplies are one of the most important things that you can worry about. Food and clean water are, like, the two reasons why people lose sieges. There's Sobek. Looks like the witch has joined the campfire. Atana's suffered quite a few losses. They started out with 5,000 people. There's fighting happening everywhere, it turns out. So we're going to interact with both ladders here. The hot oil. The bombs. That's all we've got. Unfortunately, Sobek is one of the deserters.
Oi. Oh.
This is the man that we first met at the very, very beginning of the game. In the, I don't know, in media ray that the game starts with.
Ubat.
Like I said, I don't know that I understand the logic of trying to desert when you're inside of a sieged castle,
Oi. Debo.
but we do need everybody. So our goal here is to sort of motivate the people that are left, right?
Wada. Kwa.
It doesn't do us any good to execute him if we think that we're going to lose anyway. Hopefully we can show that we are kinder and more merciful than the army that's standing outside of our gates.
Ai.
Especially since he named his daughter after our daughter.
Eu.
Boa. Oi, padai. Oi, oi. Oi, padai. Mahani mo. Oi, oi, padai. Oi,
We're not going to surrender, Stan.
Iwa. Oi, dai. Oi.
Oi, oi.
Oi, baka.
Oi. E.
We don't have to hand out supplies this time.
Oi, dai. Oi, dai.
Hey. Ubat. Oi, bada. Hey, oi. Dabu. Hey, bao. Uda. He ba doing. Oh. Da. Huh? Ka.
Eu ainda.
Do it, ba. Eu.
Apana. Ekula. Ol.
Hey, bo.
Oi, bada.
Hey, oi.
Asta. Upala kana.
Dui.
Upa esina.
Koi.
Debo.
I guess we're out of supplies now?
Kabo. E.
I don't know.
Oi.
But it's the end of the siege. Or it will be after the events of this week.
Dabo.
We've done everything that we could. We just have to trust that it works out at this point.
Kuvina. Uva. Ene kuvala. Jana balak. Ivana. Awanasti. Ana.
Doi. Aba daya. Da ba wo wo wo. Kabo oi. Oi.
Ubala. Di awa.
Hey. Oi. Oh.
Generally, it's not good for your king to be standing on the ramparts during a siege. It's too easy for them to get picked off by an archer by accident. But it's a video game. Let's go talk to our advisor, Audrey. Has been with us through thick and thin.
Oi, ba. Boy. Doi ba boy. Uba.
Oi. Iba. Uda. Ba. Oba.
Dabo.
Ele.
Oi.
So a lot of people left. We've done a good job, but there's a limit to what, 400 people can do against 5,000.
Ukati.
Gaba. Yabo. Da. O.
Fleda suata. Flyer it. Flyer. Suaya. Fladaway. Fly.
Kaba. That boy, I. Want that boy,
Flyer. 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 Fly. Flyer. And so on.
boy, boy, Kaba,
Fladay. Fly. What's that? Fly. Oh yeah. Fly. Fly away. Oh yeah.
oh,
Fly.
So the truth comes out.
that boy, that.
It was all Ivo's fault, which makes everything that he's done especially unforgivable. It was his fault that his father died, and he chose to take it out on everybody else around him.
Fly. 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 Away. Fly. 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 Flada away. Fly. Fly. Sway. Fladay. Do it. Goodbye.
Iva ua.
To be honest with you, I think that being in prison for life is like maybe one of the worst things that you can do to somebody. For me personally. Although, having said that, burning alive is pretty bad also. But Ivo is not a good person. And I think killing him here takes away the thing that the remaining soldiers would be able to rally around. Whereas if we kept him alive in prison, there's that possibility that he could be rescued, that he could be restored to the throne. And so, both through my own sense of vindication, right? But also because I do think that it's kind of the cleanest ending to the story, I do think that Ivo should be killed here. It also gives us closure, in a way that putting him in the prison doesn't.
Day was silent. Waya. Away. Swaya.
He sounds so happy when he says that. Ivo, the king of Atana, was sentenced to death for his actions.
Ala.
And life goes on, peaceful.
E gustavi. Uva.
Our son is growing up. I don't know how much time has passed since here, but it seems like it's been a couple of years, maybe. Or a couple of decades.
Kapibas. Ikano. Aliva.
But they're acting like it's just ended. I don't know. Zidane hasn't grown up. I think this is a couple of days after the trial.
Gusta. Tivol. Ibana.
I don't know. Maybe a weird translation error. Or maybe they're just being very optimistic. So, you decided to behead Ivo. Paloma, Talos' wife, never recovered from her disease. As it turned out, no amount of blood spilled on behalf of the gods can change one's fate. Ivo, successor to the crown of Atana, treated his defeat as a disgraceful waste of resources and swore this would never happen again. With that in mind, Atana started gathering new units under their banner. A new war was on the horizon. This is a little bit mixed here. You know, they treat their defeat as a disgraceful waste of resources and swore it would never happen again, which to me makes me think that they're not going to go for revenge and try to siege Davern. But then it says that a new war was under the horizon. I'm not sure what to make of this, to be perfectly honest with you. But Ivo's a prick, he deserved it. You decided to spare Baron's life. With the rightful leader and Eric showing empathy, the Radovians stayed in Davern. Bayron took responsibility for his people, and even though cultural differences proved to be a challenge, the nations sought to see the best in each other. As an aside here, one of the reasons why I bought the game was because I really liked this character art, believe it or not. Also, it was probably on sale. I'm disappointed that we don't see this character art anywhere else except for at the very end of the game. I would have liked to have seen more of this, personally. You let Asalia run away with Maya. Although King Eric never saw his daughter again, she never forgot to send him a letter about her latest adventures with Maya, the love of her life. Eric slept better at night, knowing that Asalia was happy. I do think that this drives home that she actually is very young. I'm disappointed that she never returns, especially since the Radovians stay in Davern. I'm not sure where she would have gone. I guess Maya and Asalia kind of split off to do their own thing. But this seems to confirm that, you know, nothing really befell her, which is good. I really like this picture of Sidani. You were well prepared for the war with Atana. Thanks to your defenses, Sidani survived the horrors. The recent wars seemed like the distant past, thanks to the ever-cheerful Sidani. Silly Pickle, which is the only correct thing to call her, continued to bring people joy with her positive attitude, or kept on being somewhat annoying, depending on the perspective. I'm sure living with her would be challenging, but she's a good girl. You listened to your loyal advisor during the royal trial. Audrey continued to serve Davern the best that he could. Queen Aurelia survived to the end. Queen Aurelia was grateful to see the end of the Horrid War. She continued to support Eric throughout his future challenges. I believe if you mess up the ritual, she can die during childbirth, is my... Either die during childbirth, or die in the final battle if you don't have the bear. But she looks quite young in this picture. I'm not sure if that's how old she's supposed to be. Very pretty, too. Despite challenges, you managed to secure an heir without putting the lives of your loved ones at risk. You completed the ritual with no mistakes. The battle with Atana dealt a real blow to Eric's health. However, Prince Eric II brought plenty of joy to Eric's and Aurelia's lives. Although Eric's health worsened with time, he felt at peace knowing that there was a rightful successor to the throne. Davern continued to thrive thanks to your rule. After many more years of King Eric ruling over Davern, it was time for Prince Eric II, the son of Eric, to take the burden of the crown upon himself. The young king, just like his father, had many tough choices in front of him, but that's another story. And that, I believe, is the end of the game. Up until his last moments, King Eric never stopped regretting some of his choices. He wished he could turn back time to make a different call on at least some of those decisions. Thank you for playing. Your Grace. I think we made pretty good decisions. All things considered. And that's Yes, Your Grace. We get this sick rock anthem while the credits play. But that's the game. If you made it this far into the series of videos, I really appreciate you watching. I enjoy making content for games that don't have a lot of representation on the internet, and I think Yes, Your Grace is a game that is good. I think it deserves to be played. They did make a sequel, which I have, of course, wish listed, and will buy at some point after I make my way through my backlog. But I was really surprised by this game. You know, I buy games expecting them to be good, right? I don't buy games expecting them to be bad. I think that would be a crazy thing to do. Although people do that, of course, but I don't do that. But I was, in spite of that, still surprised by how much I enjoyed the game. Of course, playing through the game, you know, multiple times like that can be a little bit draining, but I really enjoyed my time with this game, and more importantly, it kind of broke me out of that rut where I wasn't doing anything but Warframe, and now I'm playing a bunch of other games. So, you know, if you're at all interested in this game, I think it's worth giving a shot. You're welcome to use the guide, of course, and make whatever changes that you need to make in order to see different aspects of the game or whatever. But I think for the most part, I don't really have much of anything else to say. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and let these credits play out, because this game wouldn't exist without these people backing the game. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. That dude's name is Michelangelo. He misspelled Michelangelo. Thank you for watching. And of course, congratulations to, what is it, Don't Sleep at Night, for creating an excellent game.